Hi, Easy here. Welcome to my life skill guide. This video will introduce you and provide you the link for my life skill spreadsheet, which will have all of the information that I am presenting you right now and more in the future as I make more content and more guides related to platinum fields, life skill gearing, and some more updated information as patches come through and change some of the balances of each of these life skills. So life skills as a basic overview, I'll cover the basics first. As a basic overview, has different ranks. So this applies to every single life skill, and I'm using pictures of hunting life skill because that's the one I tend to do the most. But life skill rank, when we talk about life skill, there is life skill level, which is the number that you find next to your combat level on the bottom. Whenever you do life skilling. Whenever you unlock life skills, you'll get a level at the bottom, a green level at the bottom that indicates your life skill level. Now, this does not equal your life skill rank. Your life skill rank is determined by the amount of points that you invest into your life skill. So this bar should be shown on every single life skill. 0 means that that's your baseline. That's where every life skill starts at. And as soon as you invest points into your life skill, through the tick marker on the left. So I'll give you an example in game. So your life skill rank will have a little plus marker right here. That will increase your rank. If you pick a perk, that will not affect your rank. So whenever you rank up, it will unlock the respective perks or passives or active skills, but it will not automatically select them, and you can see how much points it will cost to learn that skill. So there's two different types of leveling your life skill. There's rank leveling, which is done through this plus or minus on the left, and there's also active skill leveling, which is done by clicking on these skills on the skill tree. So those are the ranks, and your rank is determined by your default rank in the life skill and your tools. So there's two different tools. There's green tools and there's blue tools. Green tools are +1, and blue tools are +2. So I have a little handy chart, and depending on your rank and your tool, this is what your total rank will be, and your total rank determines if you can farm a node or not. So if you're trying to farm a rank 4 node and you're rank 2, the only way to get it is through using blue tools. Now, normally you want to save blue tools for much later down the line. You want to use blue tools. The best use for blue tools is generally in plat fields when you're rank 3, so that you can farm up rank 3 plus blue tool, which is +2. So rank 5 materials in platinum fields, and when you're rank 4, to farm up rank 6 materials in platinum fields. So blue tools are very important. So don't try to use them too excessively. And then there's materials associated with every life skill. There's 6 different ranks of materials, rank 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there are 2 types of materials for every single rank, which is common or green, and then rare, which is blue. Common materials and rare materials can be used to make life skill tools. You can also purchase the green tools for shillings at the NPC right here. You cannot purchase blue tools from NPCs, but you can craft them using the blue materials. Now, materials below rank 4 are only used for crafting tools or leveling gear, and I don't recommend you to focus too much on leveling gear because it's too easily replaced, and it also requires materials from different life skills, which can have a huge impact on your leveling tree as you go forward. You want to invest all your points into one life skill, and I'll cover why in just a second. When you get materials for rank 4, 5, and 6, there's also epic quality material, and this is a lot harder to get. But the reason why this exists after rank 4 is because rank 4 is where you start to get materials. Rank 4 is where you get materials such as battle items and Rank 4 is where the material that you get is also used for other things like upgrading the life skill gear and making different items and stuff like that. So rank 4 is kind of where the real life skill starts. So as soon as you reach rank 3 and use green tools, you can now mine up or gather rank 4 nodes, and that's where life skills start to get interesting. Rank 4 plus nodes can give you battle item materials. I'll cover battle items in just a second, but battle items are a very important part of the game. So this is an example of a signal flare material that comes from hunting. You can craft the battle items at this NPC, and you can also buy the secondary items that, like those bottles, those purple things, at this NPC for shillings. Battle items should be farmed at platinum fields. Farming them outside of platinum fields is rarely useful, rarely efficient, and I do not recommend it. Life skills also have a huge impact when it comes to the economy, and I'll cover that in just a second. So why should we focus everything into a single life skill? Well, life skill has something called mastery skill at the end of your leveling process. So when you rank up your life skill all the way to 4, you unlock something called mastery skill right here on the right. And depending on your life skill, masteries can make or break how your class or how your life skill is balanced. So classes like, or life skills like archaeology and hunting have life skill mastery bonuses that increase the amount of loot that you get by 50%. It has a chance of giving you extra loot on a 50% chance. So at level 20. So that makes a huge difference in the amount of items that you acquire. So that's why you want to focus on a single life skill, because it makes your life skilling and the time that you spend life skilling way more efficient than spreading out your life skill points. So this does mean that you're going to be locked to a single life skill on a single character. So that's why I personally have 3 characters that are at level 50 that are at plus 40 life skill level that I do platinum fields on a regular basis with. My static mates also have two characters each that they also do platinum fields with on a daily basis. So if you want to have alts, you can have alts just for life skilling without too much time investment other than just leveling it up. So you want to focus on a single life skill. There's some basic information that are covered here. You can look over it yourself if you have any questions. Let's go into some of the overview of the different life skills. So there's 6 different life skills. Each of the life skills produces different kinds of battle items, and each of the life skills has different acquisition rate of materials, different battle item acquisition rate, different foods it can make, different materials it can have, different epic material acquisition rate, and all of these things come into play with economy. Now, in this video, in this guide, and ever, I will never recommend a life skill based on how much money it makes. Mainly because the economy will always change, and economy is determined by your server. So just because, let's say, hunting makes the most amount of gold at the current state, does not mean it will always make that much gold at all times. So the life skill that I would always recommend for people to do is the one they enjoy the most. When you're ranked 0 on all of your life skills, you get a pretty good idea of how each of the classes or each of the life skills play out. What you'll be doing is kind of already demonstrated in rank 0 life skills. Now, it's not always gonna be the same. For example, herbalism has a skill called Goldfinger, which makes you move extremely fast and herb really fast. So that might be a play style that you want. I've heard from my herbalism friend that he really enjoys that, and that's really fun compared to something like fishing. Whereas some people might like the relaxed nature of fishing. So it's up to you. Give all of the life skills a try without investing too much points. You can put in 1 point to each of the life skills because it's only 1 point to go from rank 0 to rank 1 without too much worry. And just give all of them a try. Okay? If it's your first character, give them a try and see which one you like the most. And the reason why I recommend doing the life skill that you enjoy the most is because you're gonna spend at least 45 minutes if you do it. If you spend your time efficiently, doing platinum fields. And if you don't enjoy the life skill that you're doing, it's gonna feel more like a chore than like a game if you don't do the life skill that you enjoy doing. For example, when I was fishing, I really hated fishing because it was so boring to me. I really hated doing platinum fields. I really hated doing leveling up in general. And I switched over to hunting, which is something that I enjoyed more. And I don't feel so much like a chore whenever I do life skills after I switched, which is more important than making more gold or making more money or whatever you feel like is the advantage that a less entertaining life skill can have. You want to make sure you can go the long run. This is an MMO. You're not looking for just 2 week profits. You should be looking at 3 month long profits, 4 month long, maybe half a year, however long you want to play this game. Look for the long run. Look at which one's the most entertaining and go for that. Now, if you like all of them, if you find all of them to be interesting, how do you pick? Well, this is where this chart comes into play. There is a ton of information that we put onto this chart, and it'll be difficult for me to cover everything in this video without making it like an hour long. So to just give you a brief overview, the first line will cover battle items, what each of the life skills can make. I've rated them arbitrarily compared to other life skills in the left side of everything. And it might seem like, oh wow, look, fishing has no red ones. Fishing must be the best. Not necessarily, because just because we deem it to be very good in terms of acquisition rate doesn't mean that it's susceptible to things like bots ruining the economy for fishing. In fact, that was a problem. Fishing was almost unprofitable because of macro bots that were fishing nonstop for 24 hours for 7 days. It was almost impossible to make money off of materials because of the fact that bots would oversaturate the market. Now, the bots did get banned in the previous maintenance, but that doesn't mean that it's always going to be the same. So do take some of the ratings with a grain of salt. Not all of them will be accurate to the teeth, but it is a pretty good idea of what we think about the life skills right now. So herbalism is almost always useful because of the battle items that it can create. Some of the advantages is that these high tiers of battle items, such as the purple potion that recovers 60% of your HP, is almost always useful. It is always going to be purchased. It is always going to be sought after by high-end raiders. It can also be useful when you create life gear because life gear pieces, herbalism is one of the easier ways to acquire life gear. I'll go into life gear in another video, but just to give you an idea. And regular herbs are pretty easy to gather even without mastery. Now, one of the main downsides is that the epic material acquisition rate for some life skill gear pieces are a little bit harder to acquire. But they did buff it. I put a note down here. The December 19th patch did buff some of the epic material acquisition rates. So do keep that in mind. It might be better than what it was before. And one of the more important ones is that herbalism creates health foods. So there's also foods that exist in the game that are really good for amping up your stats before a really difficult boss fight. So herbalism creates health foods, which is almost mandatory in all situations when you tackle a difficult boss. Herbalism is going to be one of your main consistent money makers. And now I always say don't really look at how much money you'll make to choose your life skill, but herbalism is going to be a consistent way to make money no matter what the economy is, because of the fact that life recovery potions will be consumed in the thousands on a daily basis by players doing raids and content and different things. So do keep that in mind. Next up, we have lumbering. Lumbering is really interesting because you actually don't share nodes, or you do share nodes, but you share them as in you can have up to 2 people on a small tree to lumber together, and you can have up to 4 people on a tree if it's a large tree. So everyone gets materials. So it's kind of like a cooperative thing, but the mechanic itself is kind of clunky. um, well, not so clunky as it is inconvenient, because you're not always gonna have someone else there, and you don't really need someone else to be there in the first place. So more often than not, people will just go by themselves to lumber stuff. It's rare that you find people try to lumber together on a consistent basis. But with that being said, lumbering is a fairly relaxed gameplay, because you just press a button and you lumber for 6 to 12 to 24 seconds. So you can just kind of lay back and just chill if you want. Lumbering also creates some pretty useful battle items such as identity potions and signal flares, as well as a campfire. The only real downside of lumbering is that it doesn't really have a useful food, and it also has the same problem as uh, herbalism, where it's hard to gather the epic materials. In fact, it's really difficult to gather epic materials, so do keep that in mind. Mining, one of the most useful battle items, rather most useful collection of battle items. You have fire molotovs, which are really good for DPS, as well as a variety of bombs and part break bombs. So do keep, that is one of the more useful ones. However, mining specializes in weapons, so you'll have a hard time gearing up your life skill items, your left side life skill, um, because you do not want to be making weapons. The only thing you want to make in terms of weapons is the elemental weapons, which will require the element that only miners have access to. So miners will always have some form of income through battle items and um, the elemental weapon material. But mining is also pretty competitive because of the fact that it's very susceptible to people hopping on the bandwagon. As in, people will really realize that, oh wow, elemental weapons are a really, really good way to make money. So a ton of people might hop onto mining, and then you're susceptible to price fluctuations and whatnot. And overall, it doesn't really help that mining doesn't really have a good secondary way of surviving, as in they don't really have good ways to make food because they don't have any food. Some of their battle items some of their battle items are only useful in certain bosses, and um, their epic material acquisition is directly related to their money making method of the elementals. So gearing up through mining is pretty difficult as well. So there are huge upsides and huge downsides to mining. But if you enjoy mining, then definitely go for it. Hunting is kind of a weird one. Uh, Battle item wise, it's got signal flares, which will always be useful, but it also has Adropin potion. And Adropin potion is a really high end rating item that has really high risks and really high returns. It is only used by people who want to push their characters to the limits of their damage. So it's not something that will be used by everyone on a consistent basis. It is also pretty rare drop, so you won't be getting these on a daily basis either. So it's very expensive, but overall the money it makes isn't that much either. Now, hunting as a whole is pretty frustrating if you are not experienced at hunting. So in the beginning, it's going to be super frustrating to catch some of those bunnies and catch some of those little raccoon things that come out of the bushes. So do keep that in mind. But overall, hunting does make a uh, ton of materials. I think it's competitive with fishing, in fact. But hunting is very, very good for just making consistent amount of money. And I think it's one of the more entertaining ones because it keeps you very engaged and entertained throughout however long you want a life skill for. It also has really useful foods in the main stat and attack power food, which is a really good offensive alternative to the defensive herbalism food. Fishing is one of the interesting ones because it's been plagued by bots for a long time, like I mentioned. Uh, fishing should be Fishing is pretty susceptible to bots because it's the easiest life skill to bot. Now, fishing has some really useful battle items that are only good when it's actually good, as in there are only certain bosses that actually need the part break items. and not all bosses need them. And more often than not, you can get by with the shilling costing ones, the practice bombs and practice shurikens and whatnot. And it can only make the 30% life potion, so it's not always good. It's not a really uh, profitable life skills to say per se, but it is always going to be good because it makes a ton of materials. You'll always be able to sell your materials. Now it won't always be fish per fish like profit like expensive, but you're gonna get a ton of fish if you have high mastery to the point where you just have so much fish that you can sell all the time. Now, fishing isn't really for everyone. It is kind of boring for me personally. You might find it to be great because it's you like that playstyle, but it's honestly up to you. When it comes to food, fishing has mana food, which I'm not sure if people use often, but it is really good for classes that are particularly mana hungry. So I've seen Devil Hunters use them for really long world boss fights or really long bosses um, when there isn't a bar to help you with mana. So it can be used in certain situations. Archaeology is a really weird one because right now it lacks any substantial um, substantial battle items. Like it doesn't really have anything that's particularly useful. It also has a hard time um, making money because of the fact that not many people use the archaeology materials either, mainly because it's overshadowed by fishing. So it's really difficult to consistently make money with archaeology. But one of the main upsides is that not many people do it. So when it does become useful, when it does become a thing, when it does get buffed or have another item introduced, it could be the big money maker in the future. Which is why the whole point of recommending life skills is not really for the money. It's more for what you enjoy, like I mentioned earlier. Economy is always susceptible to change, so don't go and decide life skills based on how much money you'll make right now. Okay? Alright, so that's been the life skill overview. As for some quick tips about leveling, just I do have a little bit of leveling tips, but this is such a small part of life scaling that I didn't really feel like it needed too much coverage. What you want to do when you life skill and you are trying to level up is you want to gather the highest rank material with green tools for the profession you choose. So let's say you picked archaeology. Just gather whatever the highest material you can with archaeology in the fields that have the rank available. So the locations of the material ranks are kind of outlined in the map right here. So in the first continent that you start out in, you can find rank 1 and rank 2 materials. In Anis, you can find rank 2 and rank 3. Ardentine, you can find rank 3 and 4. And in Vern and Shoeshire, you can find rank 4 materials. In certain islands, you'll be able to find rank 5 materials. But if you're getting rank 5 materials, you don't really need my help you don't really need my help leveling up. So this is more for people who are just getting started with life skills. Now you can also get some life skill experience from side quests, and doing some of the island related quests can give you enough experience to level up to life skill about 15 to 20 without touching any life skills whatsoever. Um, so if that's one way to level up. Now you will need to life skill in order to get it to rank 3 and then rank 4. But overall, the main goal that you want to have is get up to rank 3 so that you can start doing platinum fields with green tools and blue tools. So with rank 3, you'll be able to do rank 4 with green tools and rank 5 with blue tools, which makes up about 80% of the materials that you can gather in platinum fields. So I don't really have any specific location recommendations, mainly because it's just a small part of life skilling as a whole. You'll spend maybe like a day before you move on to platinum fields for the increased experience. And if you really want to level up quickly, then you can just no life, go to a field and just keep mining or lumbering or whatever. But overall, it's not really that efficient, and I don't really recommend trying to rush it as soon as possible like that. Just do the platinum field tickets that you get on a daily basis. Just do those, and you'll be fine. Okay. Now, when it comes to platinum fields, I'll have a guide for every single profession in the future. Um, My current plan is to have the Roana's Platinum Field out first because that covers all three professions pretty quickly. And then I'll do hunting, I'll do fishing, and then I'll do archaeology. So do keep your eye out for that, especially on this spreadsheet. I'll be linking this spreadsheet to everyone on this video as well as on my easy guide Google document. But that has been the quick life skill overview. Which life skills are good for what? Which life skills kind of have some notable highlights, some food-based stuff, some battle items. It's got the whole shebang. Okay. If you guys have any questions about certain life skills, if you guys have any questions about what I've put here, if you have any questions about some of the statements I made or some of the descriptions that I have, please leave them down in the comments below. If you guys enjoyed the video, I'll see you guys next time. There will be more content coming up, so do keep your eye out for that. And that's been the overview for so far. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.